Hello, so I'm here with
Hafsa.
and
Mahnoor.
okay, nice to meet you. So today we're going to be talking about human identity, and can you tell me what you understand by human identity?
Who wants to go? So, by human identity, I think that a person, wherever they are from, wherever they travel to, whatever education they get, they always go back to their roots. So, if we have moved here to the UK, or if you've moved to the United States of America, or any other place in the world, I believe that you always adapt to new things. You meet new people. You work in a different environment. You learn their skills, their culture. You try their cuisines. But what I believe is that human identity is what when you're trying to learn new things. There's one thing that keeps you going is staying in touch with your roots.
Yes.
And if you do not stay in touch with your roots or with your beliefs, and if you break those boundaries, I think that leads to confusion. And if you always try to put up new masks for people, or you try to, debunk perceptions of people just to please them, or to set false narratives, I think that leads to a lot of confusion in your head, and that's not very right for anyone to do so. So it's always good to stay in touch with your roots, with your beliefs, and I think that's human identity for me.
Okay. Would you agree?
I agree, and I feel like the human identity is, forms on the basis of your culture, your way of thinking, your beliefs, where you come from, what sort of ideas you agree to. So that's actually your identity, and the sort of mold you are, brought up into from day one as a baby. When you start, your parents, your family, your friends, they all build up, and help to build up your identity and to make you relate to a single identity. But as we grow, and by nature humans want dynamic, and they keep on flowing, they keep on learning new things, and when they move around, they learn new objectives, they learn new things, and that part of that learning creates a new identity where they feel they've learned enough, they've done some growth, going forward, and I think that's something that makes your identity. So I think that is the core idea for me as to what we humans identify as identity.
Okay. What do you think people struggle with when it comes to their identity?
Well, I think they struggle with confining themselves to single identity. Some people, I believe, really are easygoing, and they're like, it's fine because they've not got as much awareness as the other person who might not be sticking to one identity. Whereas this human being who does not want change, or does not believe, or like a bit, strict towards absorbing new ideas, getting that information, trying to stay old school, and not just old school in a bad way, but old school in a way that they don't want to have a new innovative ideas coming through, and they say that this change is not acceptable because I've been so accustomed to this way of thinking, way of doing things, so I don't want to change my identity. So that sort of person struggles with forming a new identity, whereas people like us who are new generation, like if you guys call us Gen Z, or you guys call us Gen Beta, whatever you guys going forward, you guys call all of the newer generations, they have a different identity. They are accepting the change, and they are the ones creating the change. They're not sticking to what they used to believe or what their parents used to believe. They are understanding that everything has a different purpose, and accepting a change is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of them things. Yeah.
Thank you. And what would you say to that? Like, what people struggle with when it comes to identity?
What people struggle with what comes to with okay. So by that question, I believe that humans must always explore. They should always, the purpose of humans is for us to come into this world and to explore everything on our own. That is why the God has, blessed us with the intellect, with the mind, heart, and what makes us different from animals is our intellect, is our is our mind. So I believe that every person should try to learn, and I think that the difficulty arises when they try to stick with whatever has been taught to them, politically, culturally, religiously, whatever it is. Whenever you get a chance, when you move to a new place, or even wherever you are, you should try to learn on your own. When you learn on your own, when you study new things, you should always think, in a broader perspective. I think that's very important for every human.
Okay. Hi, Camille.
Hi, Ibi.
I want to ask you a couple of questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Can you tell me what you know about human identity?
That's a very complex question, and it's very diverse because identity is a very broad subject which is defined at different individual levels, from personality to social class and a handful of things. But in summary, identity is basically built on the foundation of your values, your beliefs, your environment which you grew, and other things. So based on this different conditioning, you can define yourself.
Okay, what is the struggle people go through when it comes to identity?
There are a lot of struggles that people go that people suffer from or people experience when it comes to identity. Identity sometimes derive from experience, and if you go through different traumatic experiences and you're not healed, it can give you a negative perspective about who you are. It can build some sort of insecurities. It can build some sort of being pessimistic about who you are, and you're not sure of who you are, and it might make you to run to your closet at some point in time. So different traumatic experiences that people suffer from defines them, affects their behaviors towards others, and that influences their identity, shapes their values, shapes their beliefs. So yeah, there are a lot of struggles. People go through a lot of things every day.
Okay, so how can people overcome identity crisis?
That's a very lovely one, but when you talk about overcoming identity crisis, it's very complex because there are different reasons why people experience different insecurities, and there are insecurities that some people suffer all through their life with, that influences their behavior towards others, that influences their attitudes in their different communities at work and in different areas they find themselves. So depending on what they suffer from, it could be a traumatic experience, it could be a loss of a loved one, it could be not having a father in their life or not even knowing their father. So it varies, and with whatever they're suffering from, they could experience healing depending on if their hearts are open, but there are persons that will never experience healing. So but one thing I want to say is the fact that you're alive, you're living. You have to always think about the present moment. The past sometimes tells a lot of lies about who you are. Most of the things that you think about in the past are not true of who you are. But think about the present moment, and think about the fact that you still have life. Think about that does not define you. You are beyond that. A situation or circumstance should not define you. You are beyond it. And I think that should be the first step of experiencing healing. But nonetheless, it is actually very difficult for someone to be completely in the place where they don't suffer identity crisis at one moment, because it's an insecurity, and everybody has a certain insecurity in their lives. It could be finance, it could be relationship, and so on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Bye.